Hi, it's Sue with Everyday Artisan, and welcome to MeMadeMay. If you don't know what it is, for those of us who like to sew, it's a month where we try to wear the clothes that we've made more often, just so that we can improve our relationship with them. And I'm going to try to post a weekly roundup of what I wore the week before on Sundays. So this is a short week, but that's good because that gives me a chance to kind of give you an introduction. MeMadeMay was created by So What Do You Know, and I'm going to link below a link to her Instagram post. She's the one that started it, and it's where you take a pledge to either wear your clothes more often, or actually you can personalize the pledge for yourself, whatever fits you, whether you've made one piece or a whole wardrobe of pieces. So with MeMadeMay, it's not about a competition. It's not about posting photos like I've done the 100-day challenge where you had to document it and post a photo. I'm putting photos on Instagram, but I just like to document things, obviously, seeing as that have a YouTube channel and love documenting what I'm doing. But for me, by going through the clothes that I'm made, my goals this month are to help me figure out what needs mending or altering. A lot of my clothes need altering. They're almost 10 years old now, and my body's changed a lot in the last 10 years. Also, I've always, and you might notice this when I do my try-on videos, I tend to wear Alabama Chanin clothes with Alabama Chanin clothes. Today, I've got just a little pair of linen shorts on. But this is an A. Chanin cropped cardigan, and this is my made piece. But I think I would wear my clothes more often if I'm better at mixing them with my everyday store-bought clothes. So let's go through what I've worn so far. I'm gonna post pictures up here. Day one, I wore the very first skirt I made. It's the swing skirt. And maybe this is a good time to go back and tell you a little bit about me and Alabama Chanin. And I may have said this in a video before, but it's been a while. I'll post a link below to my very first blog post called How I Fell in Love with Alabama Chanin. And it'll give you more details if you care. But the brief upshot is in 2010, so Natalie came out with this book. I believe it was her first book in 2008. I read a book review for it in the Wall Street Journal. And in 2010, I finally bought the book and bought my very first kit from her, which was the swing skirt, which is what I had posted. This is a really great book because most of the articles in this book, or the suggestions in the book, are all about how to reuse old t-shirts and repurpose them and turn them into beautiful clothes, or a headband, or postcards, or a boa, or even those flowers that I've made a couple of times. So I really fell in love with the book, and then I fell in love with Alabama Chanin. So I bought the swing skirt kit first, and then needed something to wear it with. So I bought the corset kit, and that originally came in white with red beads, and I actually kind of loved it because at the time my boys were playing baseball and it kind of looked like a baseball. But in order to match the skirt, I bought it in brunette, which is her brown color, which is what I was wearing. And I was not competent enough. I was never a machine sewer. I probably took home ec in 8th grade. I'm not even going to tell you how many years ago. I think I've made square curtains, but that's about it on my machine. So I just went ahead and made this corset a single layer in the brunette. And that meant I had an extra layer and all those beads, which I didn't put on it. So hopefully later this month, I'll wear my corset that I made with the other layer and some spoonflower fabric that I bought at the workshop I went down to with 2016, and put some beads on it. Day two, I wore my black t-shirt, which I got from a kit from Alabama Chanin, and the reversible mini skirt that I just made, wearing it on the black side. The t-shirt kit probably made 7 years ago. I ordered it in a medium, put on the cap sleeves. It is the paisley stencil, and I did it in reverse applique. And I ended up, because it's kind of a light shirt, I ended up cutting out, and I actually have it here, on the back side, although you can see it's the reverse applique, on the back side, I cut out any of the fabric that wasn't kind of backing any of the shapes, just to make it a little bit lighter. That way it kind of fit a little better, had a little bit more stretch. I could possibly wear something underneath it if I wanted. And then, as time wore on, it still got a little too tight. So what I ended up doing, and I'll post a picture of it here, of kind of my work in progress, is I ended up putting a little 2-inch panel on each of the sides of the shirt under the armhole, so down the side seam. It looks a little wonky under the arm, but for the most part, I don't walk around with showing my underarms because nobody wants to see them. So that was day 2. And again, that was one of the mending projects that I think I discovered last MeMadeMay. So it's really good time and opportunity to look at what you need to do. Day 3, I wore this top came from a kit that I bought in 2016. It was the baby doll dress. And I'll link below put below a link to my blog post about how I hijacked this kit that I bought from Alabama Chanin, and instead of making it into a baby doll dress, my 50-year-old self decided I'd rather have a little top and a skirt. So day 3, I wore the skirt with just a store-bought top. I'm also wearing I was going to the farmer's market, so I had a bag too that my sister had made from when we went down to the workshops in Alabama Chanin in 2016. One of the things they gave us was the canvas bag, and I think like a swatch kit. So my sister turned her swatch, sewed it onto her canvas bag, and somehow I ended up getting it. Shh, don't tell her. She knows, I think. So yeah, I wore the skirt part of this, and now today, day 4, I'm wearing the top part of it. And this actually was something I ended up mending this morning. I mentioned this on video a while back. This was in my to mend pile forever, which I couldn't find. I finally found it and realized, whew, boy, it needs some work. So I'm gonna post a little picture here of like one of the holes I had to mend up. And I did kind of a roughshod job, if you will. So I'm gonna do it for May, but I think at the end of this month, I'm gonna go ahead and take off all of the binding on this and reattach it, because I think this was the 3rd thing I made and I still wasn't very good at it. And I didn't do a good job catching the top underneath all of the binding. So there are a couple places where it's separated real easy. Again, I've had this since 2016. I've worn it a lot. I've washed it a lot. I've grown a little bit. So it was just a little bit too much stress on my not perfect binding job to begin with. I think this was the very first time maybe I tried the Cretan stitch on that brown corset. So 2nd time I had tried the Cretan stitch. So that's it so far for my first 4 days of May. What I ended up deciding to do also, I am going to be traveling a lot this month, visiting family, work, the whole bit. So I ended up deciding to make myself a May box. So in here I've got the next project that I want to work on, and I'm going to just throw a couple outfits in there so that I'll always have some me-mades to wear. And I'm really excited about this next project that I've got this stuffed with. I've always wanted a summer robe, and I'm too cheap to buy a nice silk one. So I went to my local craft thrift store, if you will, shout out to Scrap RVA, and bought a pattern of a robe for 60 cents. And I really liked the fact that it had a border, if you will, at the edge of the sleeves. So I'm going to make the robe in dove, the sleeve ends in the light blue. I'm going to do this cool embroidery treatment from the Geometry of Hand Sewing, and I've got a couple different colors of embroidery floss and thread to do that fun treatment with. So that's coming up next. I of course post any lessons learned, although I've come to the conclusion you might not always want to listen to me because I've made a big mistake. Hold on, I'll show you. All right, here it is, my big blunder. It's the white crossback top that I'm working on. I actually finished stitching around all my shapes. On my two back pieces, I cut it all out with my negative reverse. I'm actually almost even finished with my front piece. I was getting ready to think about assembling. I was like, woohoo, you know, it's May, I'm ready to go. And I realized I was thinking so much about trying to fit the pieces on the poncho kit that when I did the second back piece, I forgot to flip the pattern piece over. So I cut out two pieces that are exactly the same. Whoops! And that's a lot of work to have done for nothing. So what I think I'm going to do, at least for the month of May, is I'm going to just cut out a plain piece of white and attach it for the interim. I'm going to put it on the side that's kind of under, if you will, although they both, when you're wearing it, they both show up a lot. And I'm going to have an asymmetrical top with one side with nothing on it for the first part of May, so that I can continue to wear it during the month. I won't have attached my binding yet. I guess it won't matter if I do my darts because that's not going to affect where I will attach the pieces. So I'll attach the pieces for now, and this will be a plain piece. Who knows, maybe I'll love it. Then I can, without putting the binding on, then I can take them off. And what I can do is, at first I was like, oh my gosh, do I need to undo all these pieces? And the answer is heck no, because I do have a few scraps left over from like the edges. And so I'm just going to figure out a way to use the designs on the scraps and put them on that piece that I attached to it. So this project's going to take me a lot longer than I thought, but who knows, maybe I can then turn this into like a purse or a little cell phone holder or something. So yeah, so we all make mistakes sometimes, right? All right, well, thank you guys so much for joining me for my week 1 wrap up. I really do hope to make one of these once a week. And please, if you guys have any questions on anything I've made, please leave them in the comments below. I'd love it if you'd like and subscribe and follow along with me as I continue to discover what I can and wear all my makes and fix the ones I need to and start a few new projects as well. And I'd love to hear if you're working on a project, what you're working on. Okay, I hope you have a great May.